Hey, Cardinal fans, we're back for another edition of This Week in Ball State Sports, chatting all things athletics and getting you set for some spring sports as well. We have plenty to talk about here with Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell, and we'll also have head baseball coach Rich Maloney join us here as well on the podcast. Jeff, appreciate your time, and I hope you're staying locked in with as many events that are going on right now and trying to keep up with everything here.
Yeah, Mick, thanks for joining, or thanks for having me. Yeah, trying my best. A lot of activity going on. And the spring sports are about to start too. So an exciting time. The spring semester is a fast-paced one for sure around here.
And softball starting things off. They play tonight out in Cal Poly. So their season begins tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock local time out there. So really excited to see what
Yeah.
Coach Pena and her squad do.
Yeah, I talked to Coach Pena before they left, and they're excited about the year. I saw where the conference announced they were picked to finish fourth in the league, and which I think is a testament to what Helen did in her first year as head coach, and a testament to the program generally speaking, and the improvements that it's made over the last couple of years. So excited for that team to get going, and obviously, we're going to spend the first few weeks on the road, being road warriors across the country, both for softball and for baseball, as those two respective seasons get going this week and next week. But looking forward to watching our softball team compete. Again, Coach Pena has been pretty high on the squad in terms of what she's seen them do over the course of the fall and early now in the spring season, just from a training standpoint. And they're eager to get on the field and play some softball, and they'll have some good competition out on the West Coast at Cal Poly as they begin the season later today.
And baseball starts next week, and Coach Maloney will talk about how everything is starting to settle for that team. But from your perspective, Jeff, they get going here. They're in Townsend to take on their first opponent, but they have the Swig and Swine tournament to open things up next week.
Yeah, that is going to be a fun team to watch too. Coach Maloney's excited about that squad. We've got a lot of new faces. I think it's 20 new players on the team, but those guys have bonded really well. Coach Maloney and Coach Pena too, for that matter, for softball, both are tremendous influencers of positive culture. And so those two teams already, in my opinion, have a competitive advantage because of the culture that they fostered on their respective programs. And for baseball in particular, with Coach Maloney over now his 20 years or so as head baseball coach at Ball State across two different stints, that is a powerful thing. And he uses that to his advantage, and the team does. So for them to go on the road for the first couple of weekends, first 3 weekends of the season, that culture means a lot because there's a lot of adversity that comes to a program when they're on the road, particularly consistently to start the year. But they're familiar with where they're going in the Swig and Swine tournament, and I know those guys are excited to play. The weather has cooperated to some extent the last few days, so Coach Maloney and the guys have been outside, and that if the temperature is above 32, they'll be outside practicing, and just with that all turf field, it makes it feasible to do that. But the weather's actually been considerably nicer than that, so they've been outside ready to go, and then they'll play in some warmer weather down in South Carolina here next weekend. So looking forward to seeing them compete. We had a great first pitch dinner over the weekend. And you got to see the guys, and you got to hear a little bit more about the season and expectations. And I know that some of the veterans on the team are really looking forward to competing this year. And I can see the enthusiasm and hear the excitement in Coach Maloney's voice as he's talking about this year. So will be fun to watch. Our home opener, first weekend of March, I believe, on the baseball side, March 7th, 8th, and 9th, whatever that corresponding Friday, Saturday, Sunday is, as we open up MAC play against, I believe, Western Michigan.
It'd be good to have the teams at home, but we've got to wait a little bit until we get there, like you said, into March for baseball and softball. Check out ballstatesports.com to get all of the schedule updates there for both of those programs and the rest of our teams. Jeff, this Saturday, it's a big one for basketball, MAC Sunbelt Challenge for both men's and women's. On the women's side, that's James Madison Ball State. That is shaping up to be a premier game on Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be a marquee matchup. And I talked to Audrey Spencer, our associate head coach for women's basketball, yesterday, and she said, "Look, James Madison's good, and they are good, and we knew that a year ago too when James Madison came to our place to play, uh, and that was the return trip, I believe." Of the MAC Sunbelt Challenge, where we hosted the second game at home on the women's side, and that was a premium matchup there too. So it's no surprise that we're pitted against each other again. Of course, the two leagues try to uh, combine the teams or pair the teams where you've got your top performers playing each other. Uh, for the purposes of potential seeding at the end of the year for NCAA tournament appearances and or just buffering the strength of schedule. That's the phrase that I'm looking for tournament resume purposes. So I think especially for that game in particular, that's a really good game for both of those institutions, Mick. And win or lose, of course, both teams want to win, and neither team wants to lose. But win or lose, I think the competition will serve each institution well in terms of resume scrutiny at the end of the year.
Any updates on football? We've seen them start to dig their roster construction in with the coaching staff and all that type of stuff. Anything on the football side that you can share with Ball State fans right now?
Well, they're continuing to recruit. The recruiting season officially is over. It ended this past weekend, National Signing Day, the second signing day for high school players was yesterday on Wednesday. So there'll be some new names and faces that get announced. They've done a really great job, Mick, in terms of constructing a roster. So, of course, the names that'll be shared with this signing period are going to be individuals that come in during the summer and that will be on the team as we head into the fall. The roster that exists right now was heavily constructed over the winter break after Coach Urimovich was hired in early December to prepare for the spring. So we've got a situation where we've got a lot of new faces already on campus, and we'll welcome some more new faces over the summer as we get prepared for the fall season. But recruiting is going very well. We'll probably have somewhere between 35 and 40 new faces on the roster when it's all said and done. Don't hold me to that. Recruiting is so fluid right now, but that's some of the conversations that I've had with Coach Urimovich and the staff. I'm not going to be surprised if that number falls closer to that 40 person newcomer list, as the case may be. So and that's not uncommon when you have a coaching transition. So I know that these guys are looking for a certain type of player and young men with high character, and they've done a great job of doing that so far. And I'm very pleased with where we are. And spring practice begins soon. Right now, they're in the implementation phase, so they're using their times in the morning, not only doing strength conditioning work, but also beginning to install some packages. And then once we have some countable sessions for spring ball, we'll begin to unveil that. And, by the way, spring practices are open to the public. We'll share more details. I think some dates have already trickled out, but we'll continue to share details about when those are. The bad news is for those that are working during the day, our practices will be in the morning, but we will have some Saturday practices that may be in the morning or in the afternoon. And again, they're open, and you're welcome to come and visit. But Coach Urimovich did mention today at a breakfast meeting in downtown Muncie. We were attending the Muncie on the Move breakfast that. Once we get into fall camp, though, things will be shut down because we're not going to have people come in and take pictures of and videos of our plays, because Coach has got something up his sleeve, I think, as we prepare for next year.
Up his sleeve. We like to hear that. We like the preparation process. We like that people can go out and have a chance to watch right now, but then once things get closer to game time, want to make sure everything is closed. Jeff, we're getting pretty close to some settlements dropping here around the NCAA. In a couple of months, we'll have hopefully some more clear answers as to how all of this impacts Ball State, how it impacts NCAA, how it impacts all of divisions across collegiate athletics. What do you know right now that you can share with Ball State fans about this situation with the settlements?
Yeah, so the House settlement will go before Judge Claudia Wilkin in California on April 7th. That's when the hearing is, and we expect her to certify the settlement. It's going to mean that all the defendants, which is the NCAA, the Power Four, at the time of the lawsuit, the Power Five conferences are all defendants. They'll pay their fair share of the settlement, and then the other conferences that comprise the NCAA across the Division One landscape will also pay a portion of this settlement as well. We're considered co-conspirators in this lawsuit. Not a named defendant, but a co-conspirator, uh, which is interesting terminology. But we will receive less distribution from the Mid-American Conference. All conferences will uh, provide less distribution to the member institutions across the Division One landscape. So that puts us in a little bit of a pinch going into budget setting for the next 10 years because it's going to be a 10-year penalty. And we're working through what that looks like. The exact figure of that assessment or reduction in revenue distribution is still unclear, but we have a ballpark idea of what that looks like. And as there's more clarity, we'll continue to sharpen our pencils. But that's expected to come down in that April 7th timeframe. As it impacts what we're doing, we're going to continue to operate as Ball State Athletics to be, and we're ushering in a new senior associate athletic director, COO, and Lauren Rhodes, who is going to take on the business responsibilities. She will help run the day-to-day operations of the department and will also be over all of our budget and business units and facilities and operations. So she will get her hands dirty pretty quickly in terms of working on our budgets for the FY26 year. We're on a fiscal year that runs July 1 to June 30. So we're in the back half of the fiscal year 2025, and we'll begin budget setting for fiscal year 26 pretty soon. I've had a lot of great conversations with all of our head coaches. Of course, we have 16 head coaches that are responsible for 19 sports here that we sponsor. And, they understand the fluid nature that we're in. And, we want to continue to sponsor our 19 sports at a level that is competitive. And we've had very productive conversations with them. Try to keep our coaches abreast of what's happening to the extent that we know there's still a lot of uncertainty around some of the new rules that are going to come out as the settlement is finalized. The biggest of which is we're looking at roster caps across all sports. So there'll be a limit to the number of student athletes that can be on any respective team. Some of those numbers are consistent with what has been in place in terms of the number of scholarships for a long time. Women's basketball, for example, that roster cap will remain at 15. They've been at 15 scholarships for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Football, on the other hand, there's teams have routinely had rosters of 120 or more. There'll be a roster cap at 105, and we'll continue to sponsor 85 scholarships for that program. So things like that are they're we have to continue to monitor what Mick, what those things look like,
Right.
and
Yeah.
as these rules continue to change. And then from a financial standpoint, we're fortunate that Ball State is in a position of strength. And we just saw the latest Moody's credit rating that came out that puts Ball State in a very stable place. So, as it relates to their support of athletics, I feel very confident going forward that we'll continue to operate in a good way. Look, we're a moderately resourced institution with a moderately resourced athletics department consistent with our peers across the Mid-American Conference and the Group of Five. So there's a reality of knowing who we are. But at the same time, we have the opportunity to continue to explore ways that we can make our enterprise and certainly our specific institution as competitive as possible. And a lot of that, too, is going to be dependent upon the support of our fans, just like they always have been, Mick. And so I'm excited to continue to create and promote the Ball State brand and continue to ask our fans to be supportive of what we're doing. And it is different. It is going to be very different than what it's looked like in the past. There'll be some student athletes that are receiving more financial benefits than they have in the past, and that's a positive thing. It's just the evolution of the way intercollegiate athletics works and higher education works, and we want to continue to be a valuable entertainment option in East Central Indiana, and we want to continue to have teams that you'll be proud of as a community and that are easy to cheer for. So a lot of the things that we've done for a long time will continue in terms of how we compete, what we look like, and the level of creativity that we utilize as a department and as an institution, but it's just in a different era of higher ed and intercollegiate athletics, and as our fans adjust to it, we hope that they will continue to support us in a way that's meaningful to them and very impactful to the work that we're doing at Ball State University and Ball State athletics.
Jeff, you said that operate as it has, and I think a lot of people have the question of what does that mean? Any of those 19 sports go away at Ball State? And you said that there's still stuff to figure out within the next couple of months and all that type of stuff. But you sound very confident that there won't be any changes to the amount of sports and programs here at Ball State.
Yeah, we've got 19 sports, and our coaches are fantastic across those 19 programs. Of course, there are 16 specific head coaches. We've got programs for cross country and track and field and swim and dive that are combined under the leadership of one respective head coach for those sports, which is how the math shakes out to 16 head coaches over 19 sports. But again, we're moving forward with 19 sport portfolio and excited about our future as we go into this new world. And again, it's going to be different, but there has been adequate planning that touches each of those 19 sports.
Well, awesome, Jeff. Before we let you go on This Week in Ball State Sports, I know that was a very intricate and detailed answer. If there's anything else you want to share with Ball State fans before we let you go, the floor is yours.
Well, we just continue to celebrate the last third of the basketball season. Both teams on the men's women's side have, I think maybe the women have, as this drops, 3 home games left on the schedule. The men have 4 or 5, I think, and just important for us to continue to support them as we've been doing all season long. We've had great crowds at both the men's and women's games, and volleyball is going to heat up as conference play starts later this week with home games, and I think that's against Purdue Fort Wayne, Mick, if I'm not mistaken. And gymnastics has an event this weekend as well, a couple of meets left on their home schedule. And these are highly entertaining, highly competitive teams that are doing great. And we encourage our fans to come out and support them and everything that they're doing. And then, of course, as we look ahead to our spring sports, we're excited about the baseballs and the golfs and the tennises. And there's just so much to be excited about right now within Ball State athletics. And of course, football practice as it begins this spring, and look ahead to football season in the fall of 2025. So the drumbeat continues, Mick, as our season continues to evolve.
It all happens fast. And make sure to check out ballstatesports.com for all schedules, times, tickets, information, you name it. It's at ballstatesports.com. Jeff, appreciate your time as always. Thank you so much.
Mick, thank you. Go Cards.
They fly down the court and fly through the air.
Right to left, the shifty guard pulls up straightaway three, sinks it.
And we fly with the Cardinals.
Straightaway Trey lets it loose and buries it.
This is your home for Ball State Cardinals basketball.
Drives baseline left, he throws it off the window and it drops in.
All the action all season long is right here.
Hey, Cardinal fans, welcome back inside This Week in Ball State Sports, and we're almost in baseball season, and according to the baseball calendar for Coach Maloney as he joins us on the show, February 1st was the first pitch dinner, so it's baseball season, right?
Yeah, that's a big thing. Once the dinner happens and is over with, boy, it is quick to come the season. So we're excited to get an opportunity to compete against somebody else here real soon.
Yeah, absolutely. It's happening fast. First pitch dinner, February 1st. That's a time for everybody to get together, celebrate what Ball State baseball is, was, and is going to be. How did Saturday go for the team?
Yeah, it went really, really well. We have just a great group of support from, our alums. So many people help make this program successful because it takes a lot of people to I always use this line, with the help of many we can do great things, and certainly that event is one of those things. We had many people be kind enough to donate auction items that brought some really good value to our program so that we can provide our student athletes with some great things. So, and then John Kessick was absolutely marvelous as our speaker. He played on our 1999 Hall of Fame team that won 42 games, played on two of our championship teams, almost won the trifecta. We lost by one game in 97, then we won the league in 98, 99. And John's a CEO of Pro Trade Steel and really provided the guys with some great leadership skill sets and team building. So I was really proud of John and thankful that he was able to come all the way from Virginia to speak to our boys.
Well, that's awesome to have John. And John's had a really good couple of months around Ball State, being a part of that Hall of Fame team, joining Ball State athletics history, and then, like you said, coming back to speak. When you have the opportunity to get families, friends, and everybody together before the start of the season, how does that just create the buzz for what this 2025 baseball team is going to be?
Yeah, well, it's nice. And you with so many new families, that really don't really know our total culture. They knew to a degree, but a chance to experience it that evening is fabulous because, quite honestly, it's a celebration of not only the 225 team, but a celebration of past successes. So we give awards from the previous year. And some of our athletes were back. Merritt Beaker, who was 11th round pick from the Nationals, was back. We had Corey Miley, was a great teammate. He was back. Nate Blaine was our Dirtbag Award winner. He was back. And so we celebrate those successes and share our tradition with the new families that are in there. They get a feel for what Ball State baseball truly is, and we're a family. So that's what that evening's about. And then looking forward to the upcoming season and the chance to build another successful team is always the goal and the challenge.
And you mentioned all the folks that were able to make it. Alex Call, also in attendance. We just had him on the podcast, so great to see Alex around the team.
Yeah, he popped in there for a little bit. Wasn't able to stay for the dinner, but dropped off a jersey for the auction and was kind enough to give me a jersey for my house, which is pretty cool. But yeah, what a great player Alex was for us. I mean, he was Mid-American Conference Player of the Year in 2016, third round draft pick, and then certainly gritted his way to the big leagues because it was a tough road for him, and then made it. And then last year, playing a couple months in the big leagues, hit like 340, which was amazing. So hopefully he'll make the big league roster out of spring training. And who wouldn't want to have Alex Call on their team? Just a great teammate, great person, and an outstanding player for sure.
Rich, looking at this 2025 baseball team, you mentioned new families, new faces all coming together to celebrate first pitch dinner. When you have a chance to look at this roster and what you've been able to see through practices and getting ready for this year's team, what excites you most about this group?
Well, they immediately bonded. I mean, a lot of times when you have so many new players, the concern is with your culture, because the culture's been our strength, and the reason why we've been able to be very consistent and very successful for a long period of time. You worry about that. And these guys came right in from the beginning, from the get-go. The people who transferred in and meshed extremely well with the guys who were returning. And man, the bond has been strong and growing. And that's very encouraging, because I think if you play together and with the skill set that we have in this locker room, you'll have a chance to be successful if you buy into really being a great teammate and really thinking that putting the team ahead of yourself. And that's not, in this day and age, that's not normal for most people. And so uniquely, I think the exciting thing is that we got a lot of guys with some skill set that really want to win for Ball State and win for their teammates. And if that will stay true throughout the season, then this team has a chance to be special.
Coach, when you're building a roster, in this case, you had a lot of graduates, you had MLB picks, there was a lot of production that you had to try and fill for 2025. What, outside of the culture aspect that you had just talked about, what pieces were you looking for to make sure that you could have the roster that you feel like could do wonderful things again?
See, what people don't understand is the tireless work it takes to build your roster, especially in this day and age. And it happens fast. So you got to make decisions on the fly that really affect your outcomes. So we all have to be in it together, and constantly talking and constantly traveling to find these players. And I think those guys did a great job.
Rich, looking at some of those new faces, I just want to hear from you. Who are some new faces that people should expect to hear about this year for Ball State baseball?
Well, I think Alex Richter he came from Marietta College in Ohio, is really a physical guy who's been very successful at the level he played at. He's actually from Carmel, Indiana. He'll start out at third base. He played second a lot at Marietta, but his bat is potent. I expect that he'll hit in the middle of the lineup, or at the top of the lineup. He's going to be one of our main hitters, and he's been impressive. So we'll see how he does. Ty Davis was his teammate over there.
Yeah.
And he came over as well, and he's physical, and he's a catcher, first base, left field, DH, but has a lot of power in the bat. Both of those guys are physical players that should have immediate impact. Garrett Harker, interestingly enough, we tried to get him out of high school, and then he went to Cincinnati. We tried getting him when he went in the portal from Cincinnati a couple years later. He went to Old Dominion, and as irony would have it, we got him on the rebound. We finally got him. He's a great kid. He has great leadership skills, and has around a 93-mile-an-hour fastball with a really good slider, and he's highly competitive. He's our kind of guy, very gritty. I think he'll really help the team. Drew Young is another transfer that we're real high on. He comes from Indiana Wesleyan. He's a right-handed pitcher, throwing 90 to 93 right now. I think he'll tick it up a bit or two. Has some really good stuff. And so we're expecting big things from him. Another guy is Evan Shapiro. He actually transferred from Kent. He's a 6'5" right-handed pitcher with a very high skill set, just working hard to develop consistency, but we think we'll get him there. Alex Burden's a left-handed pitcher that we really like. He's a junior, and he's interesting. He's got good stuff. He's competitive. I think he has a real chance. We have a couple junior college transfers, Jaden Bitter and Brett Griffiths. They'll be playing some second base, and Jaden may play some left field. Both of them are really good. They're just solid players. Jaden also pitches, so we'll see him
Okay. Okay.
in a pitching role. Um, then we got Garrett Arnold is a catcher that very mature, fifth year guy. He's got 1 year left, and really had some experience and just a good college type player. Um, those are a few to mention. I think one more I should mention is Gavin Bellius. Uh, Gavin runs a 6.360, fastest guy that I've ever had.
Wow.
Uh, in my coaching career, I had two guys at Michigan that ran upper 6.3s, and this guy runs lower 6.3s. But we've trained him to be a outfielder. He had been an infielder in junior college, and he looks to be like he could really be quite a player. We've been very impressed with him. So those are some of the guys as far as transfers goes. And another guy that a freshman, two freshmen that well, actually we have three freshmen. Brendan Garza is a right-handed pitcher. He actually touched 95 the other day. Still working on some things without question as a freshman, but he's going to get some time. He's got life on the ball, and I really like him. I think he can come at from some different angles. I think it's just like with all freshmen, takes a little time. They'll have to work their way through, especially with all the transfers that we have. But expect him to get some time. DJ Scheinman is a switch hitting catcher, very physical. Again, he just needs to develop consistency, but he has a very strong skill set, so he has a real chance. And then there's another guy that we'll see some time in the outfield. His name's John Colligan. This guy makes diving plays every single day at practice. It's amazing. And he just got to continue to get stronger and a little bit more physical. But, boy, he has a chance to do something special in his career. But like all the freshmen and the way the NCAA has this thing set up now with the transfers, the teams that are older are the ones that win. So it's more challenging for freshmen to earn their time because they're dealing with, playing against 22-year-olds. And they're 18. So, give them another year or two, and these guys are going to be, really good players. They're already pretty good, but they got to get consistency. And so we'll try to get them in there when we can, and they'll have to earn their time like anything else because we're trying to win games.
No, I think it's great that you went down and listed a bunch of players that are fresh to the program because you do have so many, and it's great to hear what their breakdown is. Rich, looking at some of the returning players, you have your mainstays like the Blake Beavises, Keegan Johnsons of the world. How are you seeing that returning class continue to elevate the program and help bring on this new core of players?
Yeah, well, like anybody else who's been in, our tradition's so strong, they got to carry the torch because the expectations in our program are always high. The standard and the bar has been set, and the challenge is, can your group that has been here for a while, can you continue that tradition? And it's tough. Winning's hard.
Yeah.
See, people think that, hey, you're just supposed to win. Well, we've been very fortunate that we've been very consistent and won a fair share of games year in and year out for a long period of time, but it's hard. It's hard. So you never take winning for granted, but your veterans are the ones that have to carry the torch. So, for example, Jacob Hartleby's in his fourth year. He's had some moments where you saw some outstanding things, but this needs to be a breakthrough year for him if we're going to elevate our team this season. It's his time. So he needs to put it all together. Like so many of our guys who've traveled through our program have, but he needs to do it. And he's capable, and he's a great kid. So we're rooting for him and hoping he can take it to the next level. You got Blake Beavis, 4.0 student in exercise science, has hit 11 and 12 home runs in his 2 seasons with us. Had a really good season last year, hitting over 300. He needs to continue to get better and put up bigger numbers for this team to to make up for some of the losses we had in losing Michael Hallquist to graduation and Hunter Dobbins to pro ball. We got to have production from Blake. We got Dylan Grego, got his feet wet some last year and really needs to take on a bigger responsibility this year. He's really been more consistent in practice in his fielding at shortstop. He's a pretty slick fielder, but his consistency level has went up. He gained 23 pounds in the summer through strength training, which was amazing. He could be a breakout player for us. We need him to be. Those are important pieces. You got Clay Jacobs, who kind of broke into the lineup last year, is in a fifth-year senior here. He needs to really make a difference for us. And Nick Hasowski hit over 300 last year, and we moved him to first base. We moved Blake to the outfield, and we're hoping that Nick can be a big part of our hitting in the middle of the lineup. So, those are some of the key guys that are going to have to perform really, really well, amongst others, if we're going to raise the bar. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Keegan Johnson, because Keegan Johnson won Freshman Pitcher of the Year last year. He's an outstanding talent, fierce competitor, actuary science major, like real smart. And he's our go-to guy. We're looking for big things from Keegan without question this season, and he's ready for it. So we're excited to have a guy like that to kind of lead us on the mound. And then you got Zach Kwasny, got his feet wet last year, did a pretty good job, and he's improved, worked really, really hard, and we think he can be outstanding. Those two from the sophomore class in general need to have big impact for us to reach our goals.
Rich, as we're recording this 9 days away from first pitch, how does that sound?
It sounds fabulous. I can tell you the guys are chomping at the bit. We've been fortunate in the last week or so. I didn't know if we'd ever get outside when January was kind of a rough month. And then all of a sudden it broke enough to where we could start getting outside. Our facilities crew did a nice job of removing some snow from the field. And since then we've been out many times, which is most helpful. The advantage of having a full turf field is huge. I remember back in the days where we'd be lucky to be on our field before we played our first game on our field. And that normally was around, when my first time here, my first stint at Ball State, was around March 15.
Yeah.
Because the thaw and the but a fully turfed field has given us a tremendous opportunity to further develop our players. So we've been taking advantage of it. And I know the guys are chomping at the bit to play somebody else.
Well, Coach Maloney, before we let you go here on This Week in Ball State Sports, is there anything else you want Ball State baseball fans to know about the team, about what's coming up, anything like that that's on your mind?
Yeah, just a lot of good things happening. We're going to have a video system that's going up, so we'll have video replay, which is something new at the stadium. Our stands got fully chair-backed, which is very, very nice. A much better look from the road and for our stands. I think the fans, it doesn't cost anything to go to games. It would be great to see some great support because we've had a lot of players that have traveled through here that have played at the next level. And currently we have 4 guys that we expect in the big leagues this season. Chase McDermott, Kyle Nicholas, Alex Call, and Dre Jameson. We expect all of them to wear big league uniforms this season, and I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if Tyler Schweitzer at some point was to get the call up in the White Sox organization. So that's pretty amazing. And all of these guys spent their time here at Ball State. So, the community really has an opportunity to see some good talent that has passed through the years, and we got good talent this year for them to watch and to follow, hopefully in the future, and maybe some of these guys get a chance to play at the next level.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time. 9 days away from first pitch, and we can't wait to see how this 2025 baseball season unfolds. Really appreciate your time, and good luck this season, Coach.
Thanks, Mick. Appreciate you. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to This Week in Ball State Sports, presented by Gainbridge. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Gainbridge Ball State Cardinals Sports Network.